looking to win consecutive games for the first time with Michael Penix Jr. as their quarterback. And then we head to our nation's capital. Meeting of the top two players taken in the 2024 draft. Caleb Williams and the Bears visiting Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. Bears have won 2 straight coming off a bye. Commanders have won 5 in a row at home. And we begin NFL Live with some breaking news. Adam Schefter with us right off the top. Shefty, what can you tell us?
Hannah, the Tennessee Titans have become the first NFL team this season to fire their head coach, Brian Callahan. He went 4-19 in 2 seasons. The team struggled. It struggled to protect its #1 overall pick, Cam Ward. It won 1 game in Arizona. Everybody remembers that game from last week when Amari DiMercato fumbled the touchdown into a touchback. And now the Titans have fired Brian Callahan. We're waiting to see who they decide to appoint as the interim head coach. A couple of candidates on staff that would make sense. Mike McCoy, formerly the head coach of the Chargers. John Fossil, who served in an interim role before. We'll see what direction they go, but they better figure it out quickly because this weekend, one of the coaches that the Titans already fired, Mike Vrabel, is leading the Patriots back into Tennessee to face the Titans.
How ironic is that? Thanks, Adam. We'll get back to you shortly. Listen, we have so much to get to. We have the crew to do it. We have J-Mac. We have Field Yates here. Dan Orlovsky's in Atlanta to call the game tonight. Mina Kimes is with us. Dan, let me start with you. What's your reaction to this news?
Yeah, the first call I would make if I was Tennessee would be to a guy who's going to be coaching on the field tonight. Behind me is Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. The second call I would make is Mike McCarthy, then Vance Joseph. I'd call Arthur Smith, who's doing a great job in Pittsburgh, and Jesse Minter as the defensive coordinator of the Chargers. Those would be the first 5 on my list. You have to have somebody that has at least a vision of what is next for Cam Ward. It's going to be very much so dependent on trying to get him to play up to his best possibility. The reality is, yes, this is a results-based business, but there's also an improvement that was needed in Tennessee. That did not happen. There wasn't, at least on tape, didn't see to be on a ton of buy-in from some players when it came to come to what Brian Callahan was preaching, and they obviously did not win. So it's a new start. They got to build some at least continuity in Tennessee. They fired a lot of people in the last 5 or 6 years, but those names that I mentioned would be my first calls for Cam Ward and the Titans' future.
Yeah, you hate this mid-season for Cam Ward, rookie quarterback. Having that kind of change is never a good thing, but it's also not surprising. Callahan, there's the win-loss record, but he was brought in to fix the offense coming from Cincinnati, and the offense has been an abject disaster this year. They rank last in just about every meaningful category, but the one that really jumped out to me they're averaging under 4 yards per play on offense. To put that in perspective, there has not been a single NFL team in the last 20 years over the course of a season that's averaged under 4 yards per play. I know it's week 6, but things haven't been trending in the right direction. On top of that, there's been issues with clock management. I think back to the end of the first half versus the Colts, the field goal fiasco, admissions about not knowing the rules, you remember, with the catch. And all told, this is not entirely surprising, even if you do worry about what it means for Cam Ward's development this year.
Yeah, it seems to be the norm. 17 out of the last 39 quarterbacks drafted since 2016. Head coach has been fired in either the first year or following the first year. So when you look at that, that seems to be what Cam Ward's going to go through and what so many other guys like him have gone through as first-round draft picks. I look at this situation for the Tennessee Titans, and Dan hit on what's the future for them when they start interviewing who's going to be the permanent head coach. But for right now, they have the New England Patriots coming into town Sunday. Mike Vrabel was there, had a lot of success, was coach of the year. I got to assume they're maybe looking at this situation and saying, hey, maybe we get a little bump from an interim head coach letting go of Callahan as Vrabel's coming into town. And if they were going to let go of him maybe after, you don't want to give him that satisfaction. I don't know exactly why right now in this instance, maybe just to move on and see what's next. But hey, for Cam Ward, it is a long road ahead now.
They're going to need that interim head coach to be able to cover pass catchers with the way that Drake May is playing right now. Because this Patriots offense is certainly finding its rhythm, at least in the passing game. It's the perfect storm here for Brian Callahan. I think there are people that closely monitor this team that think this might even be a few weeks too late. 4 wins and 23 efforts. The only win this season, frankly, was a game that the Cardinals lost. The Titans won that game, but Arizona really handed it to them as well. On top of that, I felt like at some point a change was coming when I heard their best player, Jeffrey Simmons, yesterday after the game talking about how Thursday was their worst practice perhaps of the entire season. The team finally getting a little bit of momentum after a win, maybe feeling slightly better about itself, and then your best player basically saying the tone was set on Thursday in a negative way. Not a surprise. I guess these are always a little bit surprising given the timing, but at some point this change was coming, Dano.
Yeah, so let's be honest about the Tennessee Titans, though, okay? I don't know their ownership group, and there's a lot of respect, obviously, but their ownership in the last 4 or 5 years, babyface, you know this, has fired a general manager, and then hired a new general manager, and then fired a coach, and fired that coach, and fired that general manager, now hired a new general manager, and hired a new coach, and fired the coach. There's no continuity within the organization when it comes to top-down leadership, and so Tennessee, new stadium, super talented quarterback, new general manager comes from Kansas City in the recent past year. You've got to make sure that you get these choices right of general manager, head coach, and the people around the quarterback to build long-term success. This can't just be let's hire and fire every 2 years, because you're not going to win that way. You're not going to get your young quarterback to play well that way.
And let's give you the list of names that you're talking about there, Dan. They fired General Manager John Robinson, who had collected a tremendous collection of talent there in Tennessee. Then they fired Mike Vrabel, who obviously has gone on to have the success that he's had here in New England. Then they fired Rand Carthen, who did a nice job there and was one of the bright young minds in the NFL. And now they fired Brian Callahan. So they've gone through an awful lot of people in Tennessee. You mentioned the new stadium coming. That could be a part of it. But the fact of the matter is there were a number of gaffes this season. I think people across the league thought the Titans would be patient to the end of the year, but obviously the owner did not want to do that.
The last 4 quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall, and 6 of the last 8 have now seen their head coach fired during their rookie season.
Whoa.
All right, much more on that coming up. I know that's brutal, right? All right, Lions, Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. Here we go. Yeah, no Josh Simmons. That was a last-minute change. Lions at Arrowhead, and Goff under pressure. What does he do here? Throwing.
Jalen Williams right over the middle. That's the one thing Goff can do. You can bring the pressure. He's going to sit in that pocket confident, and that's one heck of a celebration, Field.
Hey.
Mahomes to Travis Kelce here, Field.
McKelsey has been excellent over these past couple weeks, kind of finding that rhythm there, and this entire Chiefs passing offense last night felt like each person played their role perfectly for Rashee Rice.
This score comes after a turnover.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes, his 4th rushing touchdown this season, already ties a career high for a single season.
First and goal here. A quick flick to Hollywood Brown, J-Mac.
Andy Reid is one of the best in the NFL. When you get in the red zone, he's dialing something up that's going to get into the end zone.
Lions 2nd and goal on the 4, and this, what a catch by Sam Laporta, Field.
Ridiculous. Like that one right there took me about 5 replays to actually believe it was true. One hand is all he needs.
Next drive, the Chiefs 3rd and goal on the Lions 3. Mahomes finds Brown wide open across the middle.
And that's what it's going to take. You saw it, couldn't even believe it right there. But Mahomes buying time. Defenders running into each other. Hollywood Brown jumping in the stands. And then, hey,
the grill.
That's the smile that you love, ain't it?
That's quite the grill, isn't it? All right. Looks pretty good when you win, doesn't it? The Xavier Worthy effect as well in full swing for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, even when he isn't the target, when Worthy is on the field. Kansas City averaging 2 more yards per play, and Patrick Mahomes has twice as many touchdowns despite Worthy being on the field for only 1/3 of the season. So Dan, Rashee Rice is also back as of today, or as soon as they start practicing. What did you see from the Chiefs offense last night?
Trust, and I'm talking the trust from Andy Reid and Matt Nagy when it comes to the offensive line.